It is a now or never moment for the future of the United States of America. And I'm here tonight because our moment is now. I have not been more optimistic, probably in my life, for the future of this country than I am in this moment. We're on the cusp of a new American dawn that's going to start right here in this town in about 2 months on January 20th, less than 2 months from now. We turn the page on that last ugly chapter of our history to a country where, you know what, I didn't say this all of last year. People wanted me to. Oh, it's morning in America. And I'm not going to say that. It's not been morning in America. But I think January 20th actually does begin a new morning in America. And I'm excited to roll our sleeves up and take on the big challenge. I got a good piece of advice when I was 22 years old. I've tried to follow it, which is that it takes about as much effort to do something small and to do it well as it does to do something really big and to do it well. It's like about the same effort. Could be starting a small business, could be taking on a new project that you really care about, could be firing 3 million federal bureaucrats and rescinding a bunch of federal regulations to go along with it. You might as well do the big thing. And I think that's what we're shooting to do in these next, I wouldn't even say 4 years on our project, and I'm grateful to President Trump for giving us this special opportunity. We set a little expiry date for Doge. It's actually July 4th of 2026, which is the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Declaration of Independence. And we thought, what's the best birthday gift we could give to the United States of America on our 250th birthday? It would be a radical idea that matched what our founders actually fought for. We talk about the Constitution often. I often like to wax eloquent about our Constitution, but there aren't that many things that are more fundamental than even the Constitution in America. The Constitution, our framers of the Constitution gave that to us in 1789. But if you go a little bit further upstream, back to 1776, we fought the revolution for an even more fundamental principle. We fought for the basic idea of a democracy. The basic idea that the people we elect to run the government ought to be the ones who actually run the government. It's a basic idea. And that isn't the case in America today. The people who run the show today are not the actual elected representatives. It's the biggest joke in American politics. The people who actually run the show, who make most of the laws that bind us, they don't call them laws, but they're effectively laws. They're unelected bureaucrats in three-letter agencies. FTC, SEC, FDA, EPA, God knows what, TSA, thousands standing around. That's what that stands for. It's actually millions standing around is the whole federal bureaucracy as we know it. The people we elect to run the government, they're not the ones running the government. It's these unelected bureaucrats who are writing rules with the stroke of a pen, who you can't vote out, who weren't appointed by the people we vote in, who at least historically they've said can't even be fired from their jobs. That's not a democracy, actually. That is something else altogether. It is a bastardized alternative universe. It is a hell, an underworld, an upside-down version of a democracy. It's a bureaucracy, and it's worse than a monarchy. So in a monarchy, at least you know who the king is, and once in a while they have these things, they overthrow him from time to time, and they have their system of dealing with it. This is in some ways a perverse alternative altogether, where we tell ourselves that we live in a democracy. So we indulge the myth, but the actual reality is there isn't even an actual king you can identify. It's dispersed, it's diffuse, it's invisible, it's bureaucracy. So when you turn on MSNBC and they tend to say they worry about threats to our democracy, what they're really worried about is threats to our bureaucracy, when in fact our bureaucracy is the actual threat to our democracy. So that's what this project is really about. We're going to save you a lot of dollars. Don't worry about that. I promise you we're going to keep that much. Again, this 2 trillion, 3 trillion, 1 trillion, we can debate how many trillions it's going to be. But the core of this project really isn't even about saving the cost. That's going to be a side effect. It's like what the French say about drinking wine, right? Getting drunk is a side effect. So saving cost is going to be the side effect of Doge. The real essence of Doge is restoring the basic principle that informed the American Revolution. We, the people, create a government that is accountable to us, not the other way around. The people we elect to run the government ought to be the ones actually running the government, not unelected bureaucrats in the deep state. That we, the people, deserve a government that does not stand in the way of achieving the maximum of our God-given potential. That's what the American dream is about.